Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, then we'll go through the 5-day precipitation and temperature, and then we'll have a look at the mid-range forecast looking at the GFS, GM, ECMWF and their ensembles as well. And although we still have a warm day today, perhaps still warm for some tomorrow, is going to be turning much colder and wintry from the middle of next working week. Some areas right now are 15-16 degrees, and by Wednesday, Thursday time, could be 1 or 2 degrees with heavy snowfall. And we'll have a look at what is happening with that. Today, all models are now on board with it turning much colder. There is still a bit of uncertainty how it turns colder and how quickly, and that could make a difference to where we see rain or snow and how quickly that colder air does descend further southwards. But yeah, it is looking very cold next week, a real return back to winter. So remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So we do start on the live radar. You can see at the moment we do have clear skies around, very little precipitation at all, literally nothing, and that's what it's been like the last few days. Yes, there is some cloud for some, but it's nothing too significant at all. It's pretty decent for all areas, so getting quite warm indeed. And if we put the temperatures on as of 3 p.m, you can see widely yellows and oranges, symbolic of temperatures in the mid to high teens, very warm indeed, but our air mass is changing, and we're going to be getting all this cold air up over the Arctic. It's going to be spreading southwards over the next couple of days and getting to the UK by around Wednesday, so Tuesday, Wednesday time, depending on the exact models we have a look at. So yeah, turning much colder, so make sure you enjoy today and potentially if you're in the south still tomorrow. But yeah, things are turning much colder. So do have a look at the UK Met Office run, have a look at precipitation and temperature over the next 5 days. Now you can see this afternoon, beautiful, very little precipitation around, a bit of cloud, and yeah, clear skies for many. Over the course of this evening, could be seeing some cloud spreading from the east as that high pressure starts to retrogress up towards Greenland, which is going to be giving us the cold weather. And you can see by tomorrow there is going to be some cloud around, especially further northwards and eastwards with more of an easterly flow. But it's still going to be a relatively pleasant day, perhaps a little bit chillier though, with the air coming in off the North Sea. For Sunday evening, you see a few showers maybe popping off in central England, but then you see that wind direction with northerly winds starting to take over by Tuesday. Start to see some colder air by Tuesday evening in the north, potentially some snow starting to fall over Scotland. But it's by Wednesday, heavy snowfall across Scotland, turning widespread heavy snowfall as our weather front moves southwards. And the uncertainty we do have with the models is where's the positioning of this low pressure system that's developing these weather fronts. Some models have it further southwards and eastwards, dragging in that cold air much faster. Others, like the UKMO Run currently, have it positioned further northwards and westwards, with the weather fronts over Scotland with the cold air just to its north. And we run through, you see that does sink southwards and eastwards, bringing in the bitterly cold air behind it. If we do have a look at snow depth, you can see very little just over the highest ground, spread through widespread heavy snowfall over moderate hills for early hours of Thursday, and I wouldn't be surprised to be seeing some low-lying areas for a period of time as well. Something else to look at is dew points, and you can see bitterly cold dew points heading through the north, and you can see the south still 6 or 7 degrees, but by the end of the run, -5 or 6 over Scotland. So that bitterly cold air is moving through. And once again, we have a look at the 850 HPA temperatures. And you can see bitterly cold across Scotland, -9 degrees at 850 HPA and 0 degrees in the south. And that is wrapping around this low as it does spread. And as I said, if you have a look at those mean sea level pressure, you can see the low spreading southwards with bitterly cold air behind it. So we do have a look at those max temperatures over the next 5 days. You can see today, widely, again, 15 to 18 degrees, really quite pleasant indeed. Tomorrow, chilly overnight, but by the afternoon, once again, temperatures getting up to around 15, 16, maybe 17 degrees further westwards. But as I said, further northwards and eastwards, it's chillier with the wind coming in off the North Sea. By Monday, temperatures once again could be alright in the far south, 16, 17 degrees, further northwards turning colder. And you see by Tuesday that bitterly cold air is starting to arrive. The far northeast of Scotland, only 4 or 5 degrees. Along the east coast, mid to high single digits, still could be warm in the far southwest. But as I said, by Wednesday, widely below freezing across Scotland. by Wednesday afternoon, not getting above freezing. Really, really quite cold, but 13, 14 degrees in the south. And you can see by early hours of Thursday, that bitterly cold air is spreading southwards, widely below freezing behind the weather front. To the north of it, and you can see 7 or 8 degrees in the south. But I expect by Thursday afternoon, all areas will be in that real cold air mass, potentially highs of only 4, 5, 6 degrees. Really quite cold indeed. If this sort of pattern came in January, we'd be talking about massive snowfall depths quite widely with freezing conditions all day. But because this is happening end of March, early April, I do not suspect it will be too bad, but it will be a real shock to the system compared to what we've had this week with 17, 18, 19, 20 degrees for some, getting down to maybe 5 degrees for some next week for max temperatures, and colder over elevation and when we have snowfall on the ground, which could be quite widespread. I'm not thinking there's going to be massive snow depths because it is going to melt quite quickly whenever we see some sunshine and whenever it does stop snowing. But if we did see some significant snow, regardless of where you are in your elevation, if it was falling out of the sky, we could see some temporary accumulations. And that is quite a likely scenario next week, especially with this initial weather front. And then we'll be seeing a lot of convective showers behind it. So if you do now have a look at the GFS, have a look at the mid-range forecast, you can see high pressure over the top of the UK at the moment. But that high pressure is moving northwards and westwards up towards Greenland, and you can see it progressing over the next couple days. And by Wednesday time, we're starting to drag in this real cold air in from the north, direct northerly, all the way up from Svalbard up in the North Pole. But you can see it's this low pressure system that's developing, and if it develops further south and eastwards, as we'll see in a minute with some other runs, we pull in that cold air much faster. As I said, if you look at those upper air temperatures, bitterly cold air to the north, much milder air to the south. And that low pressure does develop, but it does move through, and we start to wrap around that cold air front with a northeasterly wind. GFS is a bit more of a pessimistic run today, but it's still going cold. By no means is it mild. It still goes very cold, but just not quite as cold as some other runs. We stay in that -5 air for a good couple of days for quite a few, especially further northwards. It could be a real cold next sort of 10 days, really, with a lot of northerly flows. You can see in the south a lot of low pressure systems coming in, so we could be seeing a lot of rain, and we could also be seeing heavy snow in the north where that precipitation meets the colder air. But right towards the end of the run, we do start to drag in maybe some milder air from the south, but still got this blocking up towards northeast Canada, trying to push colder air out of the Arctic towards the UK. But at this stage, with the blocking a little bit more position towards Canada, it could just fuel low pressure systems, which wouldn't be a good thing by any means. Could be turning things very, very unsettled indeed. So, yeah. This real warm, dry weather we've had recently doesn't look like it's going to be lasting at all. And even the longer term things, even if it does look like it could be turning a little bit milder for the middle of April, still very unsettled and still on the colder side. So we do have a look at the GM run, see how that does compare. Again, high pressure over the top of the UK, and then we start to put in that bitterly cold northeasterly wind. You can see that low pressure develops much further southwards, and we have nowhere near as much of an influence from it. So it means less precipitation, but it'll be turning colder more widely earlier. You can see we're putting in that northeasterly wind, bitterly cold air mass spreading through. Real cold for all. We stay in this bitterly cold air mass with high pressure toppling, giving us real cold nights. We could be seeing -10 degrees potentially overnight in a few spots. And we stay in this real cold air mass all the way until day 10. So yeah, it could be a good 5 to 7 day cold spell coming up. Really cold this is. And as I said, if this came in January or even February, it would be brutal out there. But luckily, end of March, early April means it's going to be modified quite significantly than if this fell in a winter month. But yeah, still really bitterly cold. And you have a look again at the 850 HP temperature deviation. Really bitterly cold moving in there, -8 to 10 degrees below average. Really, really cold. So we have a look at the ECMWF run, see how that does compare. Again, high pressure moving up towards Greenland, and you can see once again that low pressure system does develop, but it develops again slightly further south and eastwards, wrapping in that cold air slightly faster. And we pull in a brutally cold northeasterly wind, and right towards the end of the run, starting to get another direct northerly wind. Really, really cold, sustained cold from this ECMWF run. And we've run it back and have a look at the upper air temperatures. You can see bitterly cold air spreading in within that low pressure system, where that -5 line will likely be the snow line across potentially northern England into the Midlands. Could be seeing some heavy snow through Thursday. And beyond that, still looks really cold, and we're starting to bring another direct northerly wind. Bitterly cold indeed. And if we do run it back, have a look at the temperature deviation. Once again, 8 to 10 degrees below average, and it stays well below average for a good 5+ days there. Real cold. I must emphasize that enough. It is going to be really bitter out there next week. Even though temperatures on the thermometer will say 5-6 degrees, it's going to be feeling like freezing with a real cold northeasterly wind along that east coast. It's going to be raw. It's going to be feeling like it's mid-January, even though we've had 20 degrees this week. Really exceptional. As I said, if this came off the back of a cold winter, or off the back of some just generally average weather, yes, it would be cold. But it's the fact that it's coming back from 5-6 degree above average to suddenly 5-6-7 degrees below average. Massive sort of 10 to 15 degree swing, and that is going to be the big shock with this. So we do finally have a look at the ensembles. If we actually do start with the GFS Ensembles, the 6Z run, you can see how we're mild at the moment, but so around the 29th, 30th of March, we start to dip well below freezing and down to -5 or below at 850 HPA. You can see the operational run there is along with a few other runs which hold that cold air back a little bit. With that low pressure system developing a little bit more, you can see a lot of precipitation around. Some of that will be falling as snow. But you can see in the longer term, the operational run holds on to that cold air a little bit longer than some of the other runs do. So all runs go very cold, just the exact timeline is still a little bit off. Longer term though, looking at around average, some still really quite cold, some going a bit milder, so a bit of uncertainty in the longer term, but still looking very unsettled. And if I look at those snow depth spikes, around the 31st to the 2nd, could be quite a few potential snow events, a lot of convective showers around, and we could be seeing some occluded fronts, some convergent zones, producing some significant snow for some. And if we did have a look at, for example, Glasgow, further northwards, you could see significant snow as possible, frequent snow as well. Again, as I said, assessing snow will be difficult to say exactly because it all depends on sort of time of day, sort of cloud thickness levels, and snowfall rates, but there could be some accumulations around, even to low-lying areas, temporary accumulations, let me just say. If we go back to London and have a look at the dew points, you can see well below freezing for a good 5, 6, 7 days there, real cold air mass. And if we do have a look at the 2-meter temperatures, you can see at the moment still 15-16 degrees in London. We could see that for the next couple of days. It still could be pretty pleasant, less sunshine but still pretty pleasant. But it's by sort of Wednesday, Thursday time, temperatures dropping down to around 8-9 degrees, and by sort of the end of the working week towards the weekend, really only 6-7 degrees. Could be feeling much colder as well, and overnight temperatures down towards freezing. Really cold indeed. So if you have a look at the 850 HPA temperatures from the ECMWF run, you can see once again warm at the moment, or mild at the moment, dropping below average around the 30th of March, sort of Tuesday, Wednesday time. And then you see a bit of a split within the ensembles. Operational run developing that low a little bit more, so a bit milder for London. And many other runs, maybe half of the runs, going much colder, much earlier, developing that low not as quickly. So big uncertainty still with that, but they all go cold, all down sort of -5 or below for a good 3, 4, 5 days, some holding on for a lot longer, like the operational run and the control run, others bringing it milder. This could be one of those scenarios where, even though it looks like a 3 or 4 day cold spell now, we could end up being sort of 7 days long when every run sort of extends it slightly with that blocking holding on. So it could be sort of this sort of scenarios. We are seeing this sort of rise in temperatures keep getting pushed back. It was sort of 2nd or 3rd of April a couple of days ago. Now it's more towards the 5th of April. So we'll have to see exactly what happens with that. But still a lot of increased precipitation. And if we finally have a look at the 2-meter temperatures, widely once again, 5, 6, 7 degrees. And again, these probably do overdo it a little bit, and it will feel much colder than this. And overnight temperatures down towards freezing or below. And as I said, those feel like temperatures are going to be really quite raw, widely low single digits towards freezing. And as I said, it's compared to this week, it's going to be really cold. So hopefully everyone out there has enjoyed the warm weather we've had recently. We will be seeing more warm weather, I'm sure, over the coming months. But for the time being, it's looking like it's going to be going much colder next week. Proper wintry conditions returning. And beyond that, even in the longer term, still looking chilly and unsettled. So do make the most of this warm weather. If you're in the south, we've probably got another couple of days. And if you're further northwards, maybe just today and maybe potentially tomorrow, depending on exact cloud amounts. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.